if you get the right ingredients in the body, you can open up these pathways that just create immense amount more energy, more capacity for weight loss, healing, and overall increase in performance. And these peptides, these bioregulators, can really help your body with adapting to oxidative stress more effectively. And so like twice a year would be the ideal for each one of these to really maintain the maximum effectiveness. Welcome everybody to the Health Accelerator Challenges. I am your host this evening, Cade, and I am really looking forward to diving into some really cool stuff with everybody. We got Reagan is headed to he's in a plane right now, so you guys are going to be stuck with me for the next 30 or so minutes. But I got some really good content that we're going to cover around timeless health, go through a really interesting case study, and looking forward to having a good time with everybody. So come in if you have any questions, any comments. I'm really interested to see how the challenge went last week. So type into the chat box for me if you're joining us live, how your challenge for the last week went. The challenge was cut your caffeine intake in half. And so, and then observe the energy. So if you don't drink coffee, do a warm drink or a happier tea or water and lemon. That is, so, the goal is to see how your energy levels were by decreasing your caffeine intake throughout the day. Typically we've heard, initially there's a little bit of a struggle initially, just because, if you're used to taking large quantities of caffeine, it's can be tough to adapt to that. But once you do, maybe if you're like a 2 cups or 3 cups a day coffee, if you're cutting that down to just 1 and maybe drinking it a little bit later on in the day, not later on in the day, but in the morning, it's really interesting to see how your energy levels are the rest of the day. Seeing with less caffeine intake for me, much better prolonged and consistent energy throughout the day. And so that's what my experience has been. But type yours into the chat box. I think last week Reagan referenced the study on people that drink warm drinks first thing in the morning seem to be happier. And I think it was originally a study of coffee drinkers, but I think that was the concept that we're going for, is drink something warm in the morning, get your body warmed up and feeling good. And so, let us know how that challenge went. And type it in the chat box, or if you're listening to this recording, shoot me an email, Cade@AccuEastWest. Tell me how it's going. And so let's dive in. So today we're going to be jumping into some interesting case study with one of our patients through some bioregulators, as well as going through our Accelerate Wellness program. And I think you're really going to dig this. So let me share my screen real quickly here. So timeless health is really what it's centered around. And so we're going to dive into some case studies looking at how some of these bioregulators, which they're ultimately the bioregulators, they're peptides derived from a lot of them either from different organs as well as some different plants, and just these little teeny signaling factors that if you get the right ingredients in the body, you can open up these pathways that just create immense amount more energy, more capacity for weight loss, healing, and overall increase in performance. And so that's the goal of today. So the case study we're going to be going over, this is Debbie. She's a 57-year-old female with type 2 diabetes, fatigue, stress, ADD, quite a bit of weight gain, currently on metformin and lisinopril. So what we did in kind of the 6 different phases of peptides, or the 6 months, we had a series of different peptides and bioregulators that she was on. And so through that, started off phase 1 was semaglutide, BPC 157, and epitalin. So your semaglutide, we've even started implementing tirzepatide as a newer GLP-1 agonist, where that is these peptides help with increasing your metabolism, decreasing the desire and drive to eat. They create a gastric delay, and so you just get satiated much faster on these they're GLP-1 agonists, or the semaglutide, tirzepatide peptides. Had BPC 157. It's a really good healing peptide. We consider it's like your Wolverine peptide. Can heal much faster. It actually heals your gut lining. It's that's where it's housed. It's actually created in your body. Stands for body protecting compound, as well as epitalin. Epitalin, you've heard us talk a lot about epitalin over the years, but this peptide is a telomerase, so it helps tighten up your DNA threads, your strands there. Really cool, interesting studies on anti-aging with the telomerase, along with resetting the HPA axis. So that's your hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis. So really helps with just opening up those pathways in the body for your hormones to communicate better with each other. So it's absolutely not like taking hormones, but it is like a really good regulator, and it opens up specific pathways, so your body and your hypothalamus, pituitary can communicate better and more clearly with your adrenals, and so can help reduce that stress. So with some of the symptoms that Debbie was experiencing, as well as her goals and where she wanted to get to, with getting increased energy, decreased weight, and just performing better, this is where we went. And so along with those, so step 2 was we went tesmorelin, ipamorelin, RG3 synapsin. So your tesmorelin, ipamorelin, this peptide compound is that's my favorite one. It's amazing at creating. It's considered a GHRP, a growth hormone releasing peptide. So it opens up your growth hormone pathways, so your body can heal faster. It can recover from workouts faster. It helps you build muscle as well. And so really critical. We've seen if we're going to do anything with like those GLP-1 agonists, the kind of the traditional weight loss peptides, you got to add in some muscle with those. So the GRPs work really well hand in hand with those. So while you're trimming down and cutting down on that fat, which sometimes that can reduce your muscle mass as well, you want to be building muscle with that. And so obviously there's some lifestyle things that go into play there with fitness and exercise, but it can be just a amazing 1-2 punch when it comes to achieving optimal body figure. And so that is an awesome combo. And then you had the RG3 synapsin. This is typically an intranasal or a nasal spray where you're opening up better neuron communication, as well as just better brain function there. And then you're moving on to month 3. We did thymosin beta 4. That's a very good healing peptide. It also helps with DOMS, or delayed onset muscle soreness. So thymosin beta 4, and then we used LL37. This is month 3. So LL37, great for eliminating, eradicating infections, and great for just reducing those that inflammation throughout the body. And then month 4 went to ARA 290, nerve, really good for nervous system, and CJC 1295 infamorelin. So that's another GHRP, so growth hormone peptide. And I had a question on, did she do stem cells as well? We'll get into that further on in the case study, specifically with the stem cells. For this specific one, we did not utilize stem cells specifically for these particular items, or for her goals. And then we had in month 5, there was melanotan 2. So this works on your melanotan receptors, as well as this. So melanotan is great immunopeptide, as well as a really good protectant of the skin, and really it can also help with pigmentation as well. So typically people get a little more tan on melanotan. And then we had VIP and then 5-amino-1-MQ. So that's 5-amino-1-MQ is going to really charge up some of the energy, and also it does facilitate some weight loss. And then month 6 was MADA-C, another one of my favorites. This is your exercise mimetic peptide. It stimulates the mTOR pathway, which recharges your mitochondria. And so you're getting your cells just functioning better by recharging those mitochondria. And then CMAX, another nasal spray for cognitive performance, memory, and better brain health. So those were the specific peptides that she used. Nootropics, she was doing Nopept once a day at 20 milligrams, and then alpha GPC once a day, and then sarcotropin, IPA, which is an awesome nootropic, as well as it's got ipamorelin, which is also a peptide, GHRP. This is taken orally, but really just fantastic when it comes to just really opening up the cognitive function, brain, and neurons, as well as it does facilitate some weight loss as well. So, and then had some specific bioregulators. So just to give you guys a little bit of background on the bioregulators, had, so these things, peptide bioregulators, they're aiming to recover the resources of the organism, improve the main physiological functions, and extend the active period of life while improving its quality. So that's the goal of the peptide bioregulators. They're just even smaller compounds than your typical peptides. So this is there's a really ultimately what these bioregulators can do, potential mechanisms here, interactions with signaling molecules, increase photosynthetic efficiency, increase biosynthesis of secondary metabolites, regulation of enzyme activity, stress signaling, expression of stress and response genes, and regulation of physiobiochemical processes. So that leads to really improved oxidative stress tolerance. And so these peptides, these bioregulators can really help your body with adapting to oxidative stress more effectively. A little bit more on those. They're really, very easily consumed. They're actually capsules rather than the injectables. So we've been using bioregulators more and more and seeing some awesome things there. They're very short peptide strands or amino acid chains. They stimulate inactive genes, improve protein synthesis, restore the body at the cellular level, which that's really what we're going for, a longevity perspective. And so they can be really, really intriguing and high tech. So if you look at, short peptides, these peptide bioregulators, just to give you a little context here, the shell of the nucleus in your cell does not let in the substance with a large molecule mass. Short peptides consist of 2 to 5 amino acid residues and are small in size. So they're really, really small, so they can get into the body and help influence some of these pathways. Therefore, they can easily pass through the nuclear membrane and embed in the DNA, which encodes all your proteins in the body. Short peptides stimulate inactive genes and trigger the synthesis of needed proteins. Cellular performance is improved on the genetic level. The body increases its reserves, which allows it to maintain active longevity. And so if you kind of look at this diagram, if you're watching on the screen or on YouTube or here live, you have a protein is more than 50 amino acids. And I think the FDA is actually looked at it like 43 is where they have the cutoff currently. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. And then you have peptides and hormones are kind of in between there. And then you have your amino acids, like 2 to 5 peptides. So really small molecules. So back to, so we were utilizing all of those, some different peptide bioregulators throughout Debbie's program as well. When she first came in, her vascular age was actually 65 versus she's really 57. And so she was starting to have higher plaque buildup in her carotid arteries. So we did this carotid artery scan. I highly recommend, if you haven't done that yet, you can reach out to us. Dr. Amy has just been amazing with the ultrasound and being able to really measure your cardiac age or your vascular age through a simple ultrasound around your carotid arteries. And so you can get a really good insight and reading. And so if you haven't done that yet, I challenge you to check that out. All right, some additional things. So the specific peptides that we utilize for cardio health would be we have the Cardio 3 Plus. This is actually 3 compounds of bioregulators. So it regulates metabolism and accelerates the restoration of the functions of the cardiovascular system, prevents the development of atrophic processes of the blood vessels, heart, reduces the risk of pathological conditions. These peptides regulate the metabolism in the heart muscle cells and restore the synthesis of essential proteins and hormones. The 4 effects persist for a long time after the course. So you can utilize this. It's typically a 30-day cycle, but it's very long lasting. And so along with that, utilize the Protector 3. This focuses more on the immune system. And so the function in the immune system and the neuroendocrine systems improve the hematopoietic and sexual systems, normalize all cyclical processes, and slow down the development of age-related disorders. And so the Protector is like think of it, it's like your shield for aging. Some of the other functions, so improves function of endocrine organs, stimulates the immune system, helps with your detox systems, restores melatonin synthesis, increases your productivity, reduces fatigue, and normalizes circadian rhythms. It's even been shown to help improve fertility in women and increases in libido. So really cool one there. And then you have your Gastro 3 peptide. This is more for your GI function. Its main 3 organs affect the absorption of nutrients and the subsequent work of the intestine. So really helps with absorbing your nutrients, regulates bile production in the liver, accelerates healing in the mucous membrane in the stomach, prevention of gastritis, ulcers, and helps with secretions from the pancreas as well. So really, really great one for improving the overall GI tract. Along with that, we had Osteo 3. So as you could guess, osteo, this is going to be on the musculoskeletal system. And had a question come in from Kelly. Thanks for the question, Kelly. So the bioregulators continue to work even when you're done taking them. Do the sub-Q peptides do the same thing? Yes, so that's the really cool thing. So these bioregulators, typically they're not designed to be on nonstop. The injectable peptides, typically what those are doing is they're opening pathways at certain times. So you would never want to be on the same exact peptide, like nonstop for say, 10 years or whatever, or even a year. Typically we're utilizing different peptides at different times because they do have these lasting effects where you can open up pathways and your body's communicating better. Now, does it mean it's like forever, ever? Not necessarily. They can work for longer than when you're taking them. But typically what we've found, with the bioregulators, like every 6 months, you should be, ideally you would be replicating whatever you were doing. So if you're using osteo, say you want to improve your musculoskeletal system, and cartilage and bone tissue and your mineral density and synovial fluid levels. You'd take, Osteo 3, we would utilize this, maybe in like a 3 to 6 month time frame. So one session, month 1, and then another month, like 5, 6, or 7. And so like twice a year would be the ideal for each one of these to really maintain the maximum effectiveness. And then as far as the injectables go, typically, depending on what the goal is and what we're trying to accomplish, as well as how well you want your pathways open up, and how long you've been dealing with certain problems, you would do those typically every 90 days, cycle different ones in and out. And you typically would see that throughout, whatever your program design is in one of our Health Accelerator programs. But this is where they're just amazing from staying in the system. The additional bioregulator that we utilized in this case study was Nephro 3+. So this is your kidney peptides. And so it regulates metabolism in the system's tissues, accelerates the restoration of some of your kidney function systems, and as well as the bladder, reduces pathological conditions. There's some thymus peptides that really improve your immune responses. And then it can help with reducing inflammation in the urinary system and reduce the risk of disease there. Improves the filtration and the secretion function in your kidneys, as well as strengthens the immune protection, improves blood quality, provides some detoxification of the body. I wouldn't necessarily say, hey, this is your detox, but it's going to help open up those pathways so that your body can detox more appropriately, or better. It can get rid of some of those negative things. And then the last peptide, bioregulator peptide that we utilized with her was the Neuro 3+. And so this is where we focus on more the nervous system and brain health. So this bioregulator peptide improves cognitive brain function, protects brain cells from oxygen deprivation. And so it's helping open up some of the blood flow and oxygenation pathways, improves the emotional state, promotes balance of neurotransmitters, improves lipid metabolism, restores endothelium of vessels and capillaries, improves productivity and mental processes. And so this can also speed up recovery of brain function. It's neuroprotective, so it can prevent neurodegenerative processes, reduces the risk of developing pathological conditions of the blood vessels of the liver. Brain peptides affect the synthesis of your neurotransmitters, which regulate the memory, thinking, and speech. And so really, really robust when it comes to your brain and nervous system with these Neuro 3+. Emotional state and reaction to stress factors improve. The peptides of blood vessels strengthen the walls of the arteries, normalize their tone, permeability, and improves blood flow to the brain. It prevents development of hypoxia and severe vascular disorders. So it's really cool. So these compounds of bioregulators. So Neuro 3 it's 3 different compounds. So you have some brain bioregulators as well as some cardio, because you want to increase blood flow and vascularity if you want to have good brain health. If you're starving your brain from blood flow, you're going to have some cognitive decline, memory issues, recall issues, all those different things. And so to top it off, here is Debbie. She's 42 pounds lighter, thyroid's working again, brains never work better. So this is Debbie. So pretty amazing transformation, I would say. Really, really exciting to see some of the transformations here at East West, and I love to be a part of this community. So your challenge this week, if you haven't, so I have kind of 2 different components. If you're not currently on a program, or if you're in a program and maybe you don't have any bioregulators currently, reach out to us. Let's get some bioregulators prescribed. If you're not doing any a program, or you're just interested in trying out some bioregulators, reach out to us. Let's get some bioregulators going. And then the other challenge is, if you haven't yet, and I know we did this a couple weeks ago, but get your carotid artery scan. Because that's the beautiful thing is, I can guarantee when we retest Debbie's carotid artery scan, she's going to have a lower age. And so awesome. We love helping people with these just fantastic improvements over time. And just for the sake of time, we're kind of at the 30-minute mark. We'll close it off there. There's some additional lab markers and things I could go into, but I'm going to let Reagan do that. I'm not the lab expert that he is. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed this Health Accelerator Challenge of the week, and you all have an amazing, amazing day, and we'll see you next time on the Health Accelerator Challenges. See you, everybody.